Greetings. My name is Andrew Hairston. I'm the George N. Lindsay Fellow and Associate Counsel for the Educational Opportunities Project of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. Thank you for checking out our video on school resource officers to supplement our school discipline webinar. To start, we want to give you an overview on what the Parental Readiness and Empowerment Program is. It's an initiative of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, and more information about it can be found on our website at prepparents.org. Now, we do offer helpful information, but this is not a substitute for legal advice. We do our best to be accurate, but rules can change and may vary by state and district. With regard to this video that you are watching, it is the second video in a four-part video series on school discipline. This video will particularly focus on school resource officers, also known as SROs. And the first part of this video will cover the responsibilities of these individuals. The second part will cover the rights of students and the constitutional protections that apply to student interactions with SROs. The third part of this video will cover the effect of SROs on schools. And the fourth and final part of this video will focus on providing parents with tips and advice to give to their children when interacting with SROs. Once more, PrEP is an initiative of the Lawyers Committee, and we must reiterate that we do not offer legal advice, just general advice to help you when advocating for the best education for your child. Now, what is a school resource officer? These individuals are police officers employed by local police departments and assigned to local schools. They are responsible for maintaining a safe, orderly, and secure school environment according to a report known as Police Officers in Schools, Effects on School Crime and the Processing of Offending Behaviors, published in Justice Quarterly. These individuals have the authority to interrogate, detain, arrest, issue citations, respond to calls for service, and document incidents with regard to your child. And this information comes from the Department of Justice's Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services, or COPS. Now, the second part of our video concerns student rights, particularly constitutional rights and protections in schools. Broadly, the Fourth Amendment protects individuals from unreasonable searches and seizures. This principle applies to students as well as non-students, according to the Supreme Court case, New Jersey versus TLO. Unlike non-students, students can be searched as long as the SRO or school administrator has reason to believe that the search will provide evidence that the student violated or is violating the law or school rules. This is the minimum requirement for searching a student. Individual school districts may have their own policies on how administrators and SROs can conduct searches. Such policies may offer students more protection than state and federal law. Now, students may be questioned without parental consent or presence if the SRO has reasonable suspicion the minor violated the law. The only way that the questioning stops is if the student invokes the Miranda warnings as dictated by JDB versus North Carolina, another Supreme Court case. SROs must give a student Miranda warnings if a student is considered to be in custody. And in custody is defined as being arrested as well as being questioned, particularly if a student feels that they're not free to leave or end the questioning. Moving to the third part of our video, the effect of SROs. Students may be arrested for minor behavioral problems. SROs deal with disciplinary matters that teachers and school administrators were previously responsible for. This comes from a U.S. News and World Report on school resource officers dated in January 2015. Additionally, according to a paper published in the Washington University Law Review concerning students, police, and the school-to-prison pipeline, the odds of a student accused of a low-level offense being referred to law enforcement in a school with a regular SRO presence is between 1.38 and 1.83 times higher than those without SROs. SROs sometimes have the ability to improve student perceptions of police. However, in some locations, their presence has no impact on police perceptions, particularly those areas that are occupied by communities of color and those that concern students with disabilities and LGBTQ students. Now, the final part of our video concerns advocacy tips for dealing with SROs. We want to emphasize that parents should make sure that children are aware of their constitutional rights, especially when they are to invoke their Miranda rights. We also advise parents to look into whether SROs are present in their child's schools. If SROs are present, parents should read the Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, between their child's schools and the local police department to understand the duties of SROs in those particular school districts. These Memoranda of Understanding define the role of SROs. Furthermore, they help to safeguard against harms, police misconduct, and to increase the safety of your student. Specifically, Memoranda of Understanding distinguish between disciplinary misconduct to be handled by school officials and criminal offenses to be handled by law enforcement. They ensure that the rights of your children are respected in school. They're meant to ensure transparency and accountability. They're meant to define the role of SROs within the context of the educational mission of schools. They are meant to provide minimum training requirements. And finally, they are meant to promote non-punitive approaches to student behavior. Another advocacy tip is discussing with your child how the presence of armed police officers makes them feel. Does it make them feel more safe? Does it make them feel as though something is wrong? You can use your child's perception of SROs, as well as your knowledge of relevant constitutional protections, to guide the advocacy strategies that you ultimately employ. The true goal is to hold SROs accountable and ensure that your child has access to a safe and happy learning environment. Thank you so much for joining us for section 2 of our supplementary video series on school discipline. As always, please visit prepparents.org for more information and state-specific guides on school discipline. Take care.